Alright, and we begin. So then, today's subject is going to be Navilut, who I've chosen to depict as the sun. See, he got on this non-exclusive list by gifting a very unnecessary donation. It's still very much appreciated. I don't really have too much else to say. Sun's an interesting one, because the character is childlike in proportion, and they're riding on a horse, which means I'm probably going to have to draw a horse. Which I'm not thrilled by, but I'll do my best, I suppose. I'm trying to remember how to clear out saved colors, because I find it irritating a lot of the time. Here it is. Color history be gone. Alright. And I'm also working on a much larger canvas than I have previously. Okay, so I should also definitely be drawing its own layer. So, start off with a sketch. I'll move out from there. So, see, the drawing itself is bisected into, well, bisected implies two halves, but it's cut into a couple of different sections. We have the wall that runs down the center. We have the sun up top. The horse covers this portion. Some approximation of that. What an odd shape that I drew the horse in. And then you have the rider. Like this. Like is hidden behind the head of the horse. And there's all the flowers up here. It's sort of cut into three sections. We have the sun, we have the flowers, and we have the wall. And then we have the rider and the horse in front of all of that. So, I think from this point on I should probably start drawing things in properly from the front and then moving backwards. So that means horse is number 1, child, which is going to be Navi, is number 2. This whole section is 3, and the sun is number 4. Hello there, Aaron. Welcome to the stream. Good to have you. Let's see. So, I don't know if that was you just getting here, but I was explaining the order that I'm going to be drawing these things in. Because it's a very multi-layered sort of drawing. I didn't even mention the banner here. I suppose that's on the same layer as the flowers on the wall. I'm doing alright. A bit late to stream today, as I mentioned on Twitter, because various reasons that all sort of compounded on each other. The primary one being that I lost power up until it was around 10 minutes after my stream was meant to start. And then after that, OBS was having difficulty opening as well. I had issues there too. Fortunately, that's all been solved now. I said I wasn't looking forwards to drawing a horse, but it's actually turning out to be not as difficult as I thought it would have been. I'm working off fairly direct reference though, so... As it's no surprise that it wouldn't turn out. I mean, at the very least, it's not terrible, I suppose. I suppose a good question would be, how familiar are you with tarot, Aaron? Or perhaps anyone new that's in chat right now that hasn't caught any of my tarot streams? I gained a couple of new followers previously. Like, Spartan Killer, who came during the end of... what was it? Dragon's Dogma. I'm not going to assume that anyone is here, but, I don't know. Just in case. I think my microphone should be good enough that, I'm not getting any background audio because my living spaces is actually a bit more boisterous than usual. This horse looks so sad. Let's see, I suppose I'll go over the core tenets of the sun at this point. Let me just pull up the references that I have because I'm not actually familiar with them off the top of my head. Yeah, there's a very handy website that I have been using that lists the aspects of it. Let's see, so tarot cards can have many different meanings, especially when they appear in relation to other cards, or the orientation that the card is flipped in. So there's two main possible readings for each type of card. Upright or reversed, and that is in regards to whether or not they're dealt to you face up or face down. And this usually inverts the meaning of the card that is given you. So for instance, the sun, which is what I am working on right now, when it's dealt upright, it means positivity, fun, warmth, and vitality. And if it's reversed, it represents inner child, feeling down, and being overly optimistic to the point of self-sabotage. Ooh, voice line gotcha. Alright then, let's pull that up. A bit of a rare redeem. Let's see. I do wish I had a stream deck so I could just bind this to a button, but I have to actually open everything up. Bit of a process, but I'm not complaining. Then let's get this wheel spinning then. Okay, pulling up my Streamlabs so that I'll be able to see the redeem as it goes through. Alright. Here we are. And... ooh. Ah, this is the classic line of Sebastian from Black Butler. Let's see. I should, do this properly and mute the background audio for maximum voice immersion, I suppose. I'm simply one hell of a butler. And there we are, your voice line redemption. Oh. Ah, hello GSOC. Welcome. Yes, I don't know how much of that you saw. I drew the horse surprisingly well. I wasn't expecting to... and it's obviously far from a perfect horse, and it's... yeah, no problem. Far from perfect. Its ears are very strangely positioned. 3D space is still confusing to me, but, I don't know. I feel like it worked out better than I expected it to. And then, yes, I don't know how much of that you were here for, GSOC, but that was the voice line gotcha wheel. You can probably see from my channel point redeems that I have several tiers of voice lines. And if you look into the description of the voice line gotcha, you can see your percentage chances of getting any rarity of voice line. And those are randomly chosen from all possible voice lines. But if you redeem a tier of voice line, you get to choose which one you want. Oh, it's the horse sketch. See. I have a lot of difficulty typing and talking at the same time. One of the things that I noticed while I was, looking into what Navi was about, trying to figure out which tarot card to place her into, I discovered that she has the French flag on her Twitter bio, which means that more likely than not the S is meant to be silent. I haven't actually confirmed that with her, but that's just my general assumption after my terrible years of French practice. Not practice, but classes. I took 2 years of French. I failed both years, but, you know. The card's flag? You mean the banner here? That? I could, I suppose. It's a bit long. It could just be a very long French flag. I do not. I know a couple of words and phrases, at best. Probably the most, useful piece of knowledge that I picked up from that class is that the French slang for saying something is cool is, oh wait, no. I think I've forgotten this information. What is it? Chouette. It's chouette. So if you want to say something is cool in slang French, you can call it chouette. What is it? I forget how it's spelled, but it's like S H U E T, something like that. I haven't taken French in a long time. Chouette? I don't know. Like I said, it's been many years since I took French. And it was only for 2 years of many years ago. Let's see. I'll see if I can actually remember specifically how long ago it was. Over 10. Probably around 12 years ago. But something that I actually often forget is that Navis is, or Navi, apologies, I slipped into non-French accent there. Navi is half goblin, half succubus. So she is actually very similar to me, as I am half orc, half incubus. We are both half green, classically monstrous races, and half concubus, which is the semi-accepted gender-neutral term for a incubus or succubus. I think I inherently knew that at some point, but I sort of just forgot about it. I think that's why I followed Nevi initially, was because I realized that we were actually very similar. Alright, and I think Nevi is a bit taller than child height. Because based on her model, her proportions don't actually look too very small. So, perhaps a bit of height gained from the demonic side. Incubus and demon? What is the question there, though? Incubi are demons, yes. Orcs and goblins are not really demons, though. More monsters than anything. I'm trying to think what proportions I should actually have her at. I probably would have clarified, but I didn't want to be too much of a bother. She actually only did her full model reveal fairly recently. I wonder if I should also check that for a reference as well. I'll just download it very quickly. Just so that I can use it as a proper reference. And I did have a bit of extra time today, so I was actually able to cook myself a meal before I started streaming. That's a bit of a relief, more than I normally get. Took me a while to remember where the drawing program that I'm using is. Where did I download that to? It might have just gone into my project folder. You know what? It'll actually just show up a lot easier if I go to recent. What did I download recently? Oh no, I can't find it. Ah, there we are. There we go. This is her full model that only just recently came up. And proportionally, she doesn't actually look very short. We don't actually know her canonical height. I suppose if I run into any issues and she's actually 3 to 4 feet tall, I can just say that she's riding a pony instead of a horse. Okay. That is generally how the body will be positioned and proportioned on this. And I can just sketch out the background a little bit. Navi is going to need the highest level of detail in the composition, so be doing that mostly. It looks like this is actually just like a planter, it seems. It looks like there's a second layer behind here and the flowers all come from in between. Just have flowers coming up. And these are going to be behind everything. It might just be a wall. Sort of unclear, as most of the tarot cards are. Right, and also, I suppose I'll... I've just come to the sudden realization that I'm going to have to get the fabric physics. Let's try and follow the exact line. They do grow tall. I suppose that's correct. This flag is taking a lot of focus right now. Alright. There we go. That's as much as I'm going to try, at the very least. We just need flagpole going down. Right, and the sunflowers are also behind this, so represent that a little bit. Right, and then the big old sun. Wondering if I should have just, what is it? Put her face in place of the sun and left everything else exactly the same. For comedy. Oh, I did also just have another idea. I can probably make the sun into a gold coin. As Navi is, I suppose loot obsessed would be probably the best way to put it. Alright. At this point I have just very basic sketch down, so... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Time for the secondary layer of sketching, so... That means that everything gets to go mostly transparent as I make everything in slightly more detail. First up will be Navi. Because I don't think the horse is going to change very much. Zoom in, detail specific. Right, and I will, of course, be starting with the head, as I usually do. Okay, bit of a wider face. Okay, I actually got that fairly accurate. Hair should probably come in to play as well. And her horns frame her face very specifically as well. Those also need to get incorporated fairly early on. Looking to the side, alright. It's about as correct as I could ask for. I'm very thankful for her very simple bangs. The rest of the hair isn't, as easy to represent, but the bangs are just side parts, so no complaints there, that's for certain. Something that I've noticed from drawing is that chunky horns are pretty difficult to get right. As for those of you who know Kojiro Kano, I actually drew an emote for him on a whim. He has fairly similar horns to this. Yeah. Koji's horns twist multiple times over. See, I'll actually... I think I have that still saved here. After I sent it to him. I tend to save everything I do. My hard drive probably won't be very happy with me. Yes, here's the Koji that I did. His horns twist multiple times. It's very difficult to get accurate. I feel like that was probably also one of the better illustrations that I've done. I did it entirely off stream. Yes, I've noticed I'm far better at drawing chibi style artwork than I am seriously proportioned art. I think that was something that I've had a sort of inkling on. I never really properly noticed until I did the April Fool's art stream where I drew characters in the style of, what is it, Rio, who does the April Fool's artwork for Fate Grand Order. If I had to draw her at any other perspective than the one that is already shown, There's almost no way that I would have been able to do it any amount of justice. Oh. Something that I noticed earlier today when I mentioned that my stream would be delayed is that a very odd person was actually the first one to like that tweet, which was Bananiel. Surprised me because he doesn't actually interact with my tweets very often. If not, ooh. Thanks, virus and threat protection software, for interrupting my thought. I have no idea what I was saying. I think it was something to do with Bananiel, but the topic has completely slipped my mind. Oh well. Bananiel's a good guy. I really like watching his streams. Oh yeah, I was just surprised that he liked my post, because he doesn't normally interact with any of my tweets. Seems like an odd one to, come out of the woodwork on. Navi has very thick eyelashes. Also, something that I never actually noticed until, or something that I thought I noticed until I took a closer look at, Navi herself. I thought she had yellow sclera, but it's actually just white sclera and very large yellow irises.
Wow.
Ah! Ah, indeed. I suppose Wah is also a very fitting redeem for an art stream as well, because Ina is an artist. I actually decided that I wanted to start trying out art because of Ina's art streams. So, I suppose you have her to thank for all of the art that I've done. And probably also just for streaming in general. Because Ina is definitely my main inspiration. Ha 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 ha. I mean, I suppose that's sort of what I'm doing now. My typical process with this is to explain what I'm doing. But there are probably far better sources to learn how to draw than I. I'm not really even drawing much, I'm more just copying what's available. Also, her face is far too wide. It needs to slide over a couple of inches. Oh, I've cut that in an awkward place. Slide everything over ever so slightly. And the thing is, I don't actually know what exactly it is that I'm doing. I'm just copying what I see other people do. And sometimes it works. Case in point, this sort of face shape here. I see it used quite a lot in anime-style artwork. I know it's supposed to represent, like, the sort of indentation of the face. But I'm not using it particularly effectively. It looks more like she has a dent in her face than anything else. As you can see here, it is sort of dented in, sort of for the divot of the eyeball. So there's a lot of things that I have difficulty with. I feel like someone who is better with art would be able to explain the whys rather than the just do it. Still looks wide? Probably. Gave a bit off of the outlines. Perhaps getting a lighter profile. And this might help out a bit. I think proportionally I'm around matched now. I'm actually just going to do a little bit of a test. Scale it up to size and see how I'm doing proportionally. It's about on par, actually. Nose is a bit high. But other than that, I think it's just about spot on. Oh, the horns are tiny. I need to make these horns much larger. But as it is, just about right. Indent thing, yeah. Oh yes, the horns are proportionally around the same height as her face is. So I can probably do with scaling these up a bit. See, where are they protruding from? Around the eye level. But it actually needs to move down a bit more as well. Right. Probably just going to have to redo the horn itself then, in that case. Unfortunate. The horn comes out from a lot lower on her face. Around here. I feel like chat might be on a bit of a latency. I don't know how far behind you are. I should have it on the minimum latency possible. In fact, I don't know that you can increase it unless you are partnered. It feels like a lot of the comments I am receiving are a bit behind. And perhaps I should test it a bit. I don't know. I've also been contemplating other cards to draw as well. Especially because a lot of the cards will be very difficult to represent as VTubers. Specifically, I was taking a look at the Wheel of Fortune, which is going to be a bit of a pain to do because how's my cat? He's probably fine. I haven't seen him much of today other than when I fed him this morning. He's been around. Normally he's a lot closer to me than he has been today. Maybe he's feeling a bit blue, who knows. Let's see, what was it? He did spend a fair bit of time with me last night, though. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but one of the things I do is that if I'm just going to represent myself as a stick figure right now, but if I'm in bed, this is me laying down, I'll have one of my legs straight down, and the other one will rest like this against sort of the knee area of that leg, for instance. And my cat will curl up and sleep in here, in the little indent of my legs. It's very comfortable. And sometimes he'll just lay down on my legs if I haven't assumed the position before he reaches me. Even though that is how I will standardly lay in bed. Oh no. Very comfortable. I'm not surprised that other people do it, honestly. Cats sort of just like hollows. Very convenient for him to rest in. Also, because of the perspective I have, the head is slightly turned, so it's going to be a bit difficult to sort of work this ear in. It's going to have to be a bit smaller because of perspective. There we go. And it sort of disappears behind the head. Yes, my cat's not actually very much one for laying on my body. He very much prefers either being near me or in between my legs. Slim up the face here a bit. Cheeks a bit wide for my liking right now. No, but that makes it too thin. Perhaps I just need to slope it up a bit more. De-emphasize the corner that I have. I'm starting to construct a geometry nightmare. just not as slim as I went the first time. Now I'm running into the problem where the top of the head is far wider than the bottom. But I think it actually works a bit better this way that I've done it now. Alright. That'll do, I suppose. Right, and there's a whole bunch more hair to take care of. Fortunately, that bun is mostly obscured behind the horn. A couple of strands sticking out. Okay. I can move on to the rest of the physique. Or no. Well, I suppose the rest of the physique will be blocking the longer portions of the hair, so... Oh, in some cases, actually. This braid actually comes in front. Right, well, I'll just draw the braid in then. Ever since I learned how to draw braids, they're actually a lot easier to do than I would have expected. I'm trying to remember what I was actually drawing that had braids, or who I was drawing that had braids that caused me to learn how to do it. Someone who had braids very similar to this one on both sides of their head. Just can't quite conjure the image I'm going with, or drew. I don't know what grammar I was trying to achieve there. I think it was just Moody. The gender bent drawing that I did for Moody, another half-orc Vtuber. Remember he had a, was it a prompt that he got from one of those Twitter, what is it, the one that generates things based on your Twitter name? And he got, one about how he would be a, firefighter, something along those lines. So I drew him as a firefighter. And it also specifically mentioned that he would be a lady firefighter. That is the reason for the gender bending. I wonder why I chose to give him a braid. I don't remember. I think it was just a choice. I shouldn't be this detailed, I'm only on the sketching phase. Oh, the hair becomes a lot looser in the braid. Alright. I used a lot of lines to represent that braid. Alright. There we go. Loose hair. That's fine. Alright, and that mostly obscures this shoulder. I should probably start taking the armor into consideration early. Oh, he has pauldrons. I made this mistake when I was drawing Laoshin. A lot easier when you have any protruding clothes out of the way early. Specifically pauldrons as well. That was the issue I had with Laoshin. This portion of the armor is spikier than the rest of it, but it's also behind the hair as well, so just have a couple of spikes protruding from it. Very difficult to tell with the hair in the way. Looks like the entire section here is sort of spiked up. Like that. Also, one of the things that I have been doing in an effort to become a better streamer that I somewhat mentioned when I was tweeting about the other day is that I've been going back and watching my VODs, which is one of the more basic pieces of advice that I feel most streamers are given, but it's not something that I'd really been doing up until a little while ago. Just jumping around from different points in the stream. It is incredible to hear what happens to my voice over the course of a stream. I get so much more hoarse over time. If you are curious, feel free to open up any one of my VODs and listen to my voice at the beginning and then at the end of the stream. It's almost as if you're listening to two different people talking.
Okay, let's party!
You gotta jump out of me on that one. And I'd assume anyone else. It has to be one of the louder redeems that I've added. It's also not actually a game that I've played before. I've only ever seen footage of it. But I just think it's fairly hilarious. Now, if I was a smart person, I'd probably hide this hand behind the horse like they did on the proper tarot card. Unfortunately, I didn't think that far ahead. Alright, so time to follow the waistline. See what the proportions should be like. Alright. Got it. Try and do this in one line. I think I'm coming out of the curve a bit too early. Okay, but the torso is... Let's see, if I were to draw the center line down the torso, it's sort of like this, I think. Very disbalanced on the horse. So I think the torso on this side would actually be a bit straighter down, but still curving out like this. Or going into the leg here, like that. Seems about right. That bad, I suppose. Alright, time for pauldron number 2. Many belts and so much hair. I could look at this a layer at a time. Unfortunately, since Navi only got the full model reveal, I think yesterday at this point, he hasn't had time to fulfill the standard VTuber tradition of posting a picture of her without the hair. I don't have a bald picture to reference from, so that I can see behind all of this hair. Probably a very useful resource now that I'm talking about it. I never properly thought about it up until that point. Just having a reference to go off of that doesn't have any hair in the way would be very useful. Alright, that one's mostly obscured. But the pauldrons cover most of her arm, well, all of her arms actually. They come down all the way past the arm. So the arm ends there. Okay, so I'm actually just drawing those pauldrons, or that pauldron, far too small. I made sure to match that proportions on the other arm. Just have to make these massive. I don't think I'll actually properly be able to do it. Oh, that's far larger than the other one that I drew. How do I make this work? Also, I should probably drop down the pen size. Maybe I just made the arm too thick. Copy pasting? Well, most of it's obscured by hair. I don't know that I could copy paste if I wanted to. Right. Navi has very skinny arms. I think I'll have to reassess the thickness I granted those arms earlier. Drop those proportions down a bit more. Alright, there we go. That should make it a bit smaller. Also, looking at this, what is this torso doing? Shouldn't it be around here? It comes from, not here. Because that would be a very long shoulder. Although I suppose this is actually the side of the body here, is what I can go with. Give it a bit more three-dimensionality. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay, this is actually a lot better. You know what? I'm just going to draw the pauldron on its own layer because it's such a hassle to erase around it. I've noticed that I've been holding myself back from drinking water just in case someone tries to redeem it. It feels like a bit of a waste to drink water on its own if someone hasn't redeemed it. It's a very odd sentiment to have. I'm wondering if I should perhaps remove the redeem, as it is encouraging me to not drink. I'll probably keep it and just make myself drink more often. Maintaining my physical well-being shouldn't be the job of viewers. I probably won't. Probably won't. People like hydrate redeems. It gives them an easy thing to put points into. Even though I usually have them... Well, the thing is, I know when I'm thirsty. I'm aware of when I need to take a drink. It's just that I hold myself back from taking that drink, just in case someone redeems hydrate, and I've already taken a drink recently. It's less an issue of me not remembering to drink. Alright, I will take another drink then, G-Sock, just for you. I'm half through with my water bottle now. It is actually a bit of a bizarre talent of mine. I'm able to drink water extremely quickly. Almost to a frightening degree. There's unfortunately no real way for me to display that, though. It's a talent that shall forever remain unexplored. Oh. Ah, Mitz, welcome. Also, thank you for the bit, I suppose. I should say that additionally. Good morning to you. I hope you're well rested. I'm going to stop nagging you about sleeping habits, as it's probably not the most interesting thing to hear. And I don't have the best habits myself, so I'm in no place to throw stones. bit more volume to these arms. Oh, she's also wearing very large gloves. Seems like none of the people who watch my streams are in a good time zone for it. Very unfortunate. One of the, I know a streamer, or not know, I've raided him a couple of times, and he's generally pretty friendly to me. His name is, Mekon Mage. I don't know if you, or any of you in chat know who Mekon Mage is. But he is, I might mess this up, but I think he's either Australian or from New Zealand. Yeah. But he streams in the same time zone as you, Mitz. Yes, he also does art streams. Primarily art streams. I know he's been doing Monster Hunter Rise as well recently. Yes, it seems that I know quite a lot of people in the Australian time zones. Which is, unfortunately, the near polar opposite to my own time zone. I think I've made her arms too long at this point. They look all spindly. I'll fix that in post, I suppose. This should be thumb. And a mitten. These are just large oven mittens. They aren't gauntlets at all. Right. Alright, posture is fixed. It's cracked. Back to work. Thanks for the stretch redeem. Okay, never mind. This is actually a lot tighter than I was drawing it on the other arm. They're sort of just like, what are they? Arm socks or like non-connected sleeves? I don't remember what they're called. Disjointed sleeves? Something like that. Something about the way that I've drawn this arm makes it look like it's just ever so slightly broken. Yeah, it feels like it's bent backwards. Like I have the joint facing the wrong direction. Something's wrong with this arm. I'll try and fix it when I get to the, proper outline, I suppose. Don't want to spend too much time on it. I do really feel like I've just made the arms a bit too long, or so slightly. Oh no, just drag everything over a little bit. go. I think that's a bit better, actually. Oh, right. The whole reason that I got rid of the front portion of the arm is because of the gloves. Bulk out the proportions a little bit more. There is extra volume being added by the fabric. And on top of it, we have the large rimmed glove. Probably not that much of a perspective to it, though. And another oven mitt. Those fingers are tricky. I don't want to do that in the sketch when I don't need to. Right. Once again, arms look a bit too long. I'm just going to stretch, or not stretch that, but shrink that prematurely. There we go. And I will actually do that for the other arm now. To get it under control early. Maybe it'll look a bit less broken as well. It still looks kind of broken. Right. That's arms done then. Time for more general clothes. Hello Naruto, welcome to the stream. I am currently working on the slightly less rough sketch than the rough sketch. Progress has been fairly decent so far though. I'm also working with a much larger canvas, so this will be a bit bigger than the rest of the pictures. Hopefully that won't be too noticeable in the final product, but I have a feeling it will. I have an awfully difficult time actually figuring out how a lot of the back-end stuff works with regards to files and all that when I'm drawing. Because when I do the redeems, see the audio redeems, they each require a picture, which I manually go into find the picture that I want to use for it, which is usually something relevant to the sound in the redeem itself. There's very loud vehicles by my house right now. There's actually a very large fire somewhere near my house recently. And by recently, I mean that may have been what caused the power outage that caused my stream to be late. So there's just been fire trucks nearby my house for quite a while. But I think my mic's good enough that it won't be picking that up. And a belt going across the center as well. I think that's connected to the Aldrins. Not 100% on that, but it seems like a good bet, I suppose. Right across and erase any of the lines that don't need to be there. A bit detailed for a sketch, but that's fine. I usually take unnecessary amount of detail with sketches anyway. I was also bringing this topic up a little while ago about ideas that I have for other tarot cards. And one of the other ones, aside from Wheel of Fortune, that I feel like might be a bit tricky is the Lovers. I'm going to have to get two people to both sign off on being a part of that one. Or I could, because this is a thought that I've had, since I didn't have all of the slots filled, I could just do what I do fairly often, and just make it HoloLive fan art. And I had the idea that I could use Kiara and Callie for the Lovers card. Because HoloLive members have a open fan art policy, so I wouldn't have to ask their permission for it. Or get them to sign up for it. I could always get more participants from the independent scene. That would typically require asking people directly, and I don't really want to bother them with this. The only newer additions have been people that have either come to my streams or that I have talked to separately and asked if they wanted to be included in this. That's how he got Gygus, who is currently down for strength, as well as Miss Navi here, who gave me choice on her card. Oh, hello, G-Sock. Find a Gemini for Lovers? Takamori, yeah. Sometimes I have good ideas. There is also, who is it? There's a new duo VTuber, what are they? Absinthe and Champagne, something like that. I say new, I'm newer. But I think they're meant to be sisters, so putting them on the Lovers card might be a bit odd. Now for the point that I have been dreading. Accurately rendering breasts. cleavage line should come down into the center. Ugh, this is very difficult. Okay, I think I just need to do the cleavage line a bit. I'm actually thinking, how many women have I drawn before? Actually, never mind. They're mostly women now that I think about it. Quick question. Most is the answer.
Wow.
Wow. Why do I do this to myself? Alright. Right, so because the center line of the chest is down this way. Okay. What if I just work with the exterior first? This one be slightly obscuring the other. If perspective to work back like that. Oh. Problem is, I don't know what it'd be like from the side. Does this work? Oh, this is very taxing. I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but I have no idea what it is. Let's see, if I were to re-add in the cleavage line, it doesn't look 100% inaccurate. Right? I think I could do with fixing the shape here. This is definitely not my area of expertise, though. As an exhibit, see the number of times I've drawn Ina. Oh. Oh, you know what? I just had a thought. Let me go back to Navi's original reference. If I can find it. There we are. He actually has a side view. Okay, so it's actually just covered all the way up. And then meets there like that. Okay, I can refer back to this when need be. I also 100% did not realize that she has wings. Those that her clothing accommodates them, unlike my clothing. I've entirely forgotten what it looked like. I have the memory of a goldfish. Oh, this is tricky. Sort of like this, I'm fairly certain. Fine. I don't know if I'll ever be able to represent this accurately. Okay. I'm very quickly just going to take Navi, flip her around, mirror the image. I need the chest to be pointing in the opposite direction. So that I can get a good reference as to what it should look like from this angle. Okay. This on. What have I done? Secondary sketch layer? What layer are you? Oh, it's because I still have the area selected. The fool. Alright, so. There we go. That. Sort of helps with the volume. It's like drawing a sphere. I mean, it's actually just drawing a sphere. Never mind, it's not like it. It is. Right, but I think this might be the closest that I get. No, that can't be right. I suppose they're being separated by the, what would this be? Chest plate, I suppose. This one shouldn't be... Alright. I feel like this is the area that I always have the most trouble in when drawing. Right? I think I might have done it, finally. Maybe. Who knows? Art is pain, huh? This is just something that I voluntarily chose to do. How did it take for me saying that for you to realize it? Fairly certain you've been drawing far longer than I have. This is, what is it? In, psychology, sort of. Yes. I don't know how, I suppose, widely spread this idea is, but, I remember having it explained to me that there are two different types of fun. There's type 1 fun, there's type 2. Type 1 is instant gratification. Getting a present, eating ice cream. Something that is instantly in the moment. You get serotonin and good endorphins out of. And then there's type 2 fun, which is the sort of rush that you get from climbing a mountain or finishing an art piece, perhaps. And certain people like certain types of fun more, I suppose. I guess artists are just type 2 personalities. They enjoy the struggle of accurately conveying their thoughts into reality. I think I may have started a bit too high-waisted on these high-waisted leotard. Maybe not. That looks about right. And also take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination. But it's always seemed relatively consistent to me. I am, after all, the type of person who enjoys playing Dark Souls. It would make sense that I enjoy struggling to accurately draw something as well. Now, art is just the Dark Souls of being creative, if you think about it. Yes, both of you are artists, in fact. Both Mitz and G-Sock. I feel like I know a lot more artists now as well. I never used to know this many people who were actually in the art community before I became a VTuber. hopefully I won't need too much luck. The sentiment is definitely appreciated. Alright, he has a nice little Dio Brando belt. A heart cod piece. I suppose it's not really a cod piece, just a belt buckle. I'll get details when I do the final sketch. I was about to just start adding in the belt buckles and the inner line for the heart, but I feel like that would be an excessive amount of work for no real reason. See, and there's the... What are these? I suppose I'd just call them flaps that come off of the belt. Not really armor, it doesn't look like. It seems to have the texture of fabric, from what I can tell. Or from the thickness of it. It might be metal, though. Not entirely certain. That does actually hide most of this leg, though. It seems to curve, so far as I can tell. Right, and then I can just get a little bit of the other one here, where it disappears behind the horse's mane. Perhaps I'll make the mane a bit bushier as well, so that I can hide more things like a good artist. Let's see, where does the knee begin, though? It's another question. Around here, perhaps? I think I drew the leg a bit too long in the previous one. Whatever I do, I definitely want this leg to go past the bottom of the canvas so that I don't have to draw a foot. This is my only desire, is to not have to draw a foot. Maybe I'll just... No, even starting it looks off. Right. Doesn't matter how disproportionately long those legs are. I'm hiding the foot. Right. I think that's... Oh, right. Wings and hair. Those exist. Or the hair that... Too difficult, I suppose. Very loose, actually. It looks like she would have very curly hair were it short. There we go. Not much to the hair, I suppose. As for the wings, those will actually be in front of the hair, I think. Could be. Also, for those of you that weren't here earlier, when I was talking about Navi's lore, is that she is actually half goblin, half succubus, making her incredibly similar to me, who is half orc, half incubus. I just think is very interesting. I made the wing far too small, that's why I'm undoing it. Just ever so slightly moved everything. Be dealing with that now. Okay, as it turns out, I actually do have to do a bit of detail work on the wings to make it look proper. It just sort of looks like I made the shape of a wing without actually making a wing itself. You need the dent lines and everything. Give it proper volume. Or the other wing, I suppose. A bit more hidden, this one. Alright. Arm. It comes back out here. And it just disappears back behind the shoulder, never to be seen again. There you go. Bit hidden, bit smaller. But that's perspective, huh? Okay. That's actually a pretty good start. And then, let's get a better sketch of the horse. My cat has come to visit. Hello, Sebastian. How are you doing? Have anything to say? I'm just going to sit around on my desk. Please don't rub into the microphone. Here, would you like me to lift into your bed? It's sort of being obstructed right now. There you go. Even if he wanted to be here, he's a bit trapped by the microphone now. Oh, looks like he might just jump out. Okay. He just wants to be in front of my monitor and bothering me. Hello. I cannot have you standing on my tablet. I'll pet you a little bit. Right. He's off to the right side of my desk now. Actually, you know what? He's purring very loudly, so I'm going to hold him in front of the microphone for some cat ASMR. I don't know if you could hear that. He's squirming quite a lot. Alright. He's gone now. Goodbye, Sebastian. Hello and goodbye. I feel as if the pop filter might have, dampened that noise a bit. Although he's still hanging out next to my feet. He's not entirely gone. Alright then. What's shocking, G-Sock? Did you hear the purr? Or is that just general cat excitement? I'm usually pretty excited when I get to hear a cat purring. Ah, okay, so it was audible, good. Yes. Interestingly, Sebastian almost never meows at anything. But unfortunately, that means he is vocal in other ways. And by vocal in other ways, I mean he loves property damage and will scratch at anything to get attention. Which means that many of the doors in this house have duct tape over them so that he will stop scratching them. Oh, and he's back up. Is there something you want, Sebastian? Ah, you know what? The reason that he's wandering around on my desk and being a nuisance is because he's hungry. Because it's just about time to feed him. I'm going to take a quick break and get him some food. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, where's my intermission card? There we go. Alright, back to work. I also took the chance to refill my water bottle as well. And I also had the realization that I probably should have turned the the background music off so that the purring could be heard a bit better. Yes, I am back. Thank you for the welcome, Aaron. Right, what was I doing now? Right, horse mane. Repositioning the ear a little bit so that it doesn't look quite so wonky. Looks a bit better. I think I'll have to completely remove the the original sketch so that I can properly see without the background image messing up my perception. Now, I can generally just go over all of my own lines. When I do the final drawing, I'm probably going to use a smaller brush size, because these lines are a bit too thick, I feel. Horse looks like it has a secret. How did I manage to draw the wings? By following the guidelines. Remember when I initially drew it, I didn't have the interior lines? Because I figured I would add those later. But then I realized that after I drew it, they looked a bit flat, and the perspective was weird. I just wanted to add in the interior lines to give it its depth back, and I will indeed take a drink. All right. No, I don't think I need any further lines. Oh, yes. Right. Gotta accurately represent musculature, I suppose. Some way. Just draw some paint lines. Alright then. Perhaps she's leaning a bit too far to the side. But that's fine. This child isn't very well balanced either. Also, looking at this child now, is this just a baby Giorno Giovanna? Look at these hair loops. Just notice that. Oh. Things are on the wrong layer again. Let's see how many things. The entire horse. That's fun. Actually, I think Navi has a bit of a white border around her, so I actually have to be fairly close on the horse, or else I'm going to be getting white background along with it. Cut that onto its own layer. I suppose I'll bring it up to the very top just to make sure. Oh. Bring it up to the very top and move it. Okay, doesn't look like I got any white background messed up with it. And I will just combine that into the horse sketch layer. Don't apply transformations. Now the horse sketch is actually on the horse sketch layer. I've solved my problem. Okay then. I will do the background now. I say uncertainly. Right, yeah, background it is. And I think I'm going to want to draw the background with Navis invisible. Just so that I can accurately have everything in place. I'll remember where she's meant to be so I don't draw too much stuff behind her. But other than that, I feel like it might just be in my best interest. So I'm drawing things accurately, you know? I want to have proportions incorrect. Also, these should be much larger than the, the reference images that I had before. In fact, I can get rid of that as well. Now that I have this baseline to go off of. So then. Actually, can I just cheat? Is there a sunflower here? My wish has been granted. There's just one full sunflower. Look at that. There we go. Sunflower. That made my life a lot easier. Oh, I want a front-facing one. There we are. Sometimes my own genius astounds me. Right. Back to work then. So, Probably the Mimi. Ooh. The Mimi. Just said the most difficult aspect of this drawing. A giant cloth flag. Here goes nothing. Okay, actually, flag's getting its own layer. Also, I don't think I'm going to do a sketch of the background. The background's just going to be one and done. I actually just use the straight line trick that I've been doing for a lot of my other drawings. Now, take that. Or no. Copy it. Where is that? Copy and paste. There we are. Got a perfectly parallel line. A bit thinner. There we go. Something else I've been debating whether or not I should do for a little while. Oh, I should probably put them both on the same layer as well now. Something else I've been debating doing is there is a little button that you can press that turns off your ability to see how many viewers you have. I think it would probably be best for my mental health were I to be unable to see how many viewers I have. Feels like that'd probably be for my best interest. But on the other hand, I love statistics. I suppose I could just use my post-stream time to look at statistics. Why did cloth have to be so hard to draw? Who decided that we should use cloth so predominantly? If only everyone just wore cardboard boxes. I wouldn't have to draw fabric folds. Like I said, this is going to be a one-and-done background. I need to accurately remove the guiding lines here. Hoping my cat Sebastian comes back soon. I'd like to try and get him to accurately purr into the microphone and turn the BGM off so that more audible. I didn't cook too much fancy today. I just had some, what are they? Baby potatoes. We're starting to sprout, so I dumped them in, or I cut them into shape. Any of the ones that were too soft to be eaten I tossed, but chopped them all into quarters, and I tossed those into a bowl of salt water. Brined them a little bit, and after that I put them in the oven for a little while. Not too long, but I just wanted to dry them out. They're so slightly low temperature. Put them in the oven until they were dry. And then after that, I took some oil, olive oil specifically. Olive oil, salt, a bit of paprika, a little bit of red pepper. What else? Up here, red pepper. Oh, normal pepper, black pepper. I think that's about it, actually. And then I took all of that and put it back in the oven. Let it bake properly with the oil and seasoning on it. Came out fairly well. Didn't take any pictures. Didn't look anything special. It was just browned potatoes with seasoning on them. I didn't really think it anything worth sharing visually. Fine to describe, though. Pen, right. Oh, this is difficult. Ah, I see where I'm running into issues. Curved this back too severely. Only every single line I drew was on its own layer. Alright. Back to it then. This... oh, that's not what I meant to do. This line... come a bit closer to the horse. And exit there. Fabric of the flag widens and thins again. Is that a part of background? Certainly is. Oh, certain portions of the flag are on the flag layer and certain ones are on the background layer. I'm not about to fix that. Too much work. Alright. Okay, so now I need to draw... what is it? Definition lines in the fabric, I suppose? Oh, and also erase the flagpole that is obscured. Alright then, back to work. Oh. I'm just going to keep finding aspects of the background that need to be erased, I suppose. Oh. Oh, I suppose I found the portion of the background that was flagged. It did actually have repercussions. Who'd have thought? Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious. The horse's head is a lot more present in the original tarot card, making these lines a bit more difficult to predict, I suppose. It's not as if these are even lines on the flag. They're just, what is it? They're guidelines for where the folds are. Might just look a bit odd if I have them existing, even. if I don't follow through on how the lines should look properly. But with how they shaded it with the vertical lines as opposed to the horizontal ones on the flag. Suppose I'll just leave it as is. Okay. Oh, most of that's on the background layer as well. Suppose I've just given up at this point. Some things will be on the background, some things won't. Ooh. That stem was a bit too thick. No, starting from the top, I seem to have had an easier time moving downwards with my lines than I was up. That stem might just be too thin though now. Oh well. Manually fixing the flower a little bit. I need to get very detailed here. These stems should probably also be on a separate layer. Oop. Right, now then, time to bring Navis back, or Navi, and erase everything that's behind her. Well, this is actually going to be a bit difficult. Need to bring the background behind her now. I've definitely said this before, but removing elements of a drawing that shouldn't be visible is one of my favorite parts of drawing, because it just causes an immediate perspective shift. Sort of like one of those optical illusions, where when you look at a certain thing from two separate angles, it can be something different. In this case, I am removing obscured objects from view. Causes them to then appear as if they are behind the thing that I already drew. I have noticed that, I'm fairly certain it's because of the larger canvas I'm working with, that every now and then It'll take a couple of seconds to pull up a loading bar. Not entirely sure what it's for. I think it's doing some sort of auto recovery, just in case it crashes. It has data saved, just in case. Now this sunflower is just behind everything, barely even visible. I suppose that also makes it look a bit more realistic, I suppose. Let's autosave? I'd assume so. I'd imagine there must be some level of autosave in Clip Studio Paint. Okay. But that's... I think that's it for the background. I'm satisfied. Oh, aside from not having the sun yet. Oh, right. And the sunflowers need leaves. Or do they? Oh, now that I have the auto stabilization, it's a bit easier to draw circles, but as you can see, I can't actually do it. I'm assuming there's some way to automatically draw a circle. Ah, I actually remember a weird little trick I had for drawing a circle. Let's see. How big do I want the sun to be? Around 1500. Right, so I set the pen to 1500. And now I set the eraser to let's see, 1495. I just make a big black circle and then erase the center. I know there's probably a circle tool in this program, but I haven't been able to find it. I think I actually want the lines of it a bit thicker, so decrease the size of the eraser a bit more. And the line tool. I'm sure it is somewhere. But I've already created a perfect circle. Under gradient. Right, I'm reading everything carefully this time just in case, but I don't actually see gradient here. Maybe it's in the advanced menu again? Further left? Yeah, there's not much further left to go. Oh, this. Blend? No, gradient, there it is. I forget this tool exists. I don't know how to use it, mainly. Freeform gradient? Is this it? One more down? Oh, figure. Okay, that makes sense. Right, well, I'll remember that next time I need to do geometry in this. You're the best tutorial I've ever had, G-Sock. Very helpful. I want to move the circle over a bit more. Not quite centered. There we go. I feel like there's probably some way to cause it to be a perfect circle. Probably something to do with the line tool. Or pressing shift for it. Like I am with the line. I don't know. Again, I've only been doing this for actually a couple months now. I've been drawing for a while. I can't actually take full credit for that method, as I picked it up from watching, what is it? I suppose it's an art YouTube channel, is the best way to describe it. But I believe I've talked about this with you before, G-Sock, but I picked it up from Drawfee. Katrina uses it once. Or Karina, not Katrina. I forget what it is that they are drawing that day. She did it to create a shoujo bubbles. And that's how I thought to use that, just to make general circles. And it worked. So, I have them to thank for that piece of knowledge. Okay. I think I need a new layer for sun rays. Because I was otherwise going to have a bit of an issue with this sunflower. Oh, that's not actually the base of the circle either. Slight hiccup there. And by slight hiccup, I mean I hiccuped a little bit. Not a technical error. Just a body error? I don't know how else to describe it. Is that all a hiccup is? Just an error of the body? Yes, I do take most of my drawing knowledge from Drawfee. Smaller eraser here. Especially they do draw classes every now and then. I've picked up a couple of useful tips there. Also, I have the brush on the artist setting. I'm still getting lightly transparent outlines. Which always cause me issues when I'm working with the fill bucket. I'm not very happy about that. I suppose I'll cope. I remember they actually, what was it, in a recent draw class that Drawfee did, they talked about how to effectively solve that problem, but it was a bit too advanced for my level. I did not entirely understand what they meant when they were talking about it. Perhaps I'll have to go back and rewatch that one. Actually, you know what? What a wonderful time for a mirror. Oh, right. Maybe I can. Who knows? Might just go worse for everyone involved. I copy that. No. Needs to be on... Which layer is this? Background? I think it's just base background. Copy and paste. Now transform. So long as you can get these curves to match up exactly. Or even if it's not exact, it can be approximate. I think that's just about right. Art is entirely about how to creatively cheat the best. Actually, it's on its own layer now. I can get rid of the extra thickness that is from the original line. Solved a problem? Didn't think I would need to. Right, actually I need a larger eraser for this. Eyes can go back up, I don't need details anymore. Surface area. There. So now, I just need to continue on these lines to their natural termination point, which they were pretty close to anyways. I want to match exactly. Just a little bit of perfection as a treat. There we go. Right. That one's close enough to its termination point that I really don't feel the need to go any further with it. Yes, I'm still drawing. I plan on completing the sketch today. So, once I am finished the background, that'll probably be the end of it. So I'm actually fairly nearly close to done. Now, I can actually combine background copy with sunray. Right, which layers are on sunray? Those 3. Alright then. Yes, if you are, oh yeah, go to sleep if you're tired. I'm just about done. Going to sleep now, all you're really going to miss is me copying and pasting a couple more lines onto this sun. So, if you're tired, feel free to leave now. Copy and paste. Transform, right. Oh, this is actually a bit trickier now. Oh, okay, no, I don't want to rotate it at all. Because I have to match up the very small guiding lines. Maybe I do rotate it. A little bit of imperfection never hurt anyone. It's just about this point. Turn that a little bit more. Probably a bit better if it's slightly imperfect as well. Alright, that's fine. Yes, apply transformation. Alright, they won't be coming out at the exact same degree, but, I'm not trying to be perfect here. I already had my little bit of perfection as a treat already. Now I can have a little bit of imperfection as a treat as well. I suppose I also have a couple more topics to bring up, I suppose. Specifically, what I should be doing for Wednesday's stream. As that is my dedicated short game day, or non-long game day. Probably the best way to put it. I've mainly just been playing Hades for that. I feel like I should probably branch out a bit more. It feels like I've been playing too much Hades. I've been wondering what else I should do. I could always go back to Darkest Dungeon. And for maximum confusion, just have 2 games that begin with double Ds. Or their abbreviations are double D, with Darkest Dungeon and Dragon's Dogma. Or I could try something else. I've been meaning to start playing Apex for a while now, since every other VTuber does it. But I also don't want to go in solo, so I've been avoiding that game. Who knows? Perhaps it'd be fun to see me get absolutely flamed by my teammates. Welcome back, Aaron. I suppose you just have this on in the background as you are going to sleep. But I'll do whatever, I suppose. There's a couple of games that I have that I've not played on stream. Oh, that's still a part of background, right? As my sun rays got entirely messed up. Copy and paste. Now transform. Perfect. Oh. Oh. Probably actually be better if I... Actually, no. That changes nothing. In fact, all it does is creates the chance for it to be the incorrect size. Ah, I see. Oh. So I'm definitely not going to do something I don't want to. You can rest assured on that. But I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. And also if what I want to do is also what people want to see. There you go. IRL cooking? I've talked about that previously. I'm definitely not opposed to the idea, but I'd probably do it as a slideshow or a pre-recorded video that I talk over. Because I am moderately worried that I might mess something up if I do it live. Ooh. Might actually be interesting. Taking recipe suggestions. Yeah, before I start cooking, obviously. Right then. That is a finished sketch. And it only took me 3 hours. Well, that's fine. I like garlic anyways. Right then. Well, it's been a very good time, but it is just about time to call it quits. I'm actually surprised how close I got to exactly 3 hours. The minor achievement. Well then, suppose we should find somebody to raid. Huh. It looks like Aquapunk, who is another subject for the tarot artwork, is streaming right now, so I will probably go visit her now. So, I hope everyone has enjoyed their time here. I hope to see you all again sometime soon. Au revoir.